Yo, what's going on, gentlemen? Guys, I know everyone's wondering right now what's going on with these rate cuts, and I'm going to talk about a little bit what I think is going on. I think it's a strong chance, even though the CME FedWatch tool says that it's like, 7%. I think we might actually get rate cuts next week. I think it's a possibility. Now, here we go. Bitcoin's been ranging between 93 and 95 for a few days now. This range is getting tighter and tighter. This thing is coiling up for a move. All right. Let's look at this chart real quick. I can't wait to get TradingView set up on my computer. For some reason, still not letting me sign in. All right, let's just go to the weekly. As you can see here, whenever it loads, all right, you can see it's just bouncing off between 95 and 93. And this range is getting tighter and tighter, as you can see here. It's just coiling up for a move. I can just, this thing's going to send. It's either going to dump or it's going to pump. It's going to move violently one way or the other, and I think it's going to be to the upside, gentlemen. I think we're going to be printing these gains here soon, boy. Print those fucking gains. But yeah, we got some weak jobs data today. I told you guys to look out for this data. Let's see, job openings, 10 a.m. Came in at 7.2 million. They were expecting 7.5. This is the data the Fed looks at. I don't really care about all this other shit, earnings reports and stuff. Yeah, if you're like a trader and all this stuff and you're big on that stuff, cool. But I look at, me personally, I look at what the Fed looks at, which is inflation data and jobs data. So now, this is going to increase the chances. That's showing a weakening labor market. That is what the Fed wants to see. They want to see inflation being lowered. That's one thing, a key thing that they want to see. But if this labor market continues to, there's less jobs in the market, that is grounds for a rate cut, gentlemen, I talked about this on my channel before. It's about the bench press analogy. Now, if there's someone on a bench press and they're pumping that shit up, killing the game, they don't need a spot, They do not need a spot. Now, if they're showing signs of weakness, that's when you step in and give them the spot. That's the Fed cutting the rates, all right? So, there you go. Bench press analogy with the weakening labor market. Now, tomorrow we have more employment data at 8:15. A big day tomorrow, 8:30 GDP. And we have inflation data coming out at 10 o'clock. So that's going to be a big day tomorrow. This is really going to be, tomorrow is really going to determine what's going on with these rate cuts. In my opinion, we get more weak jobs data and good inflation data showing that inflation has come down. Buddy, I think we might just get a rate cut, May 7th. I think we just might. Despite all these people saying that otherwise, this is what the Fed looks at. And going to the CME FedWatch tool, it's only saying 7.7% chance, all right, as of right now. We keep getting bad jobs data. That could change, Like, the Fed has to do something about this. They should have been cut rates. They should have been cut it. Friday, U.S. non-farm payrolls. If you don't know what that is, it's basically any job that's not on a farm. The name implies what it says. The unemployment data also coming out at 8:30 on Friday. So basically, I skipped Thursday. We have initial jobless claims also 8:30 a.m. Thursday. All this job data, inflation data, and GDP, that is going to be influencing the Fed to make their interest rate decision next week. I think it's next week. It's like a week from, or like, I don't know. Hold on. How many days is it? Okay, yeah, it's 7 days away. So that's a week. All right, so it's next Tuesday, I guess. Okay, let me go back to the economic, no, let me talk about this a little bit. Bitcoin price still in bargain zone as U.S. jobs report sparks rate cut hopes, like I was just talking about. Fidelity Digital Assets says Bitcoin is undervalued and the firm holds an optimistic midterm outlook. The JOLTS report shows a sharp drop in U.S. jobs, raising investors' hopes for Fed interest rate cuts. Like I just talked about, the bench press analogy, dudes on the bench press struggling, you step in and give them the spot. That's basically what's going on with the labor market right now, in a nutshell. And, worst come to worst, gentlemen, we still got June. It's looking way more optimistic if they do not cut in May, at the May meeting. June meeting is looking much like we are going to see a rate cut, July is almost certain at 95%. All right, so I'm just going to read some things I saw in here. USDC issuer Circle approved as money service provider in Abu Dhabi. Let's go. Let's go. All right, so U.S. White House, just in, White House says President Trump is America's businessman in chief. Trump Tower in Dubai to accept crypto payments. All right, let's just see what this guy is saying. Treasury Secretary Bassett says interest rates are down, mortgage rates are down, gasoline and energy prices are down, and we're expecting further decreases.
That goes unpicked since January 20th. Interest rates, mortgage rates are down, gasoline and energy prices are down. We're expecting the further decreases. And as Caroline said, the big tax on consumers that goes unnoticed is deregulation or regulation, and we are deregulating and bringing that down. So, from a household income point of view, we would expect real purchasing increases. We've seen them over the first 100 days, and we would expect that to accelerate. We are doing peace deals, trade deals, tax deals, and deregulating. And the deregulation is a longer lead time, but I think by the third and fourth quarters, that's really going to kick in.
Like you said, inflation's coming down. There's really no reason the Fed don't need to be cutting these rates at this point. Also, China removes 125% tariff on U.S. ethane imports. Secretary says tariff revenue will provide American people with much needed income tax relief. So basically, Trump's strategy with this tariffs, I'm not really sure what's going on with it, but he basically, back in the day, he was saying in the 1800s there was no income tax. It was just tariffs. And maybe we can go back to that. I will pay a little bit more for my product, for goods and stuff. A small increase in goods versus no tax. Are you kidding me, bro? That is a huge difference. All right, so the good versus bad on that is the good definitely outweighs the bad. You might pay a few $1,000s extra a year for products, but guess what? You're making 5x that and without paying taxes on your income. I don't know why people would complain about that. Just in, Walmart expands support for American-made products. Let's go Wally World, bro. Let's go Wally World. Alright, so what else? There's really nothing else on here. Oh yeah. United Kingdom seeks to become a world leader in digital assets. UK Finance Minister says. That's bullish. United Kingdom to collaborate with the US to boost adoption of cryptocurrency. Pakistan says India is planning to attack in 24 to 36 hours. That might be, if they do that, honestly, that we might see like a fucking dump. I really hope that doesn't happen, because that's definitely going to dump markets. But yeah, there we go. President Trump says he is more knowledgeable than Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Too late loser. That's what he called him. That's fucking funny. But yeah, that's all. That is really all I got for you guys. I just wanted to go over some of this economic data. We have a big week ahead. So be looking out tomorrow. Tomorrow is a big day. We got inflation data, unemployment data, and GDP. Thursday, initial jobless claims. Friday, U.S. non-farm payrolls. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we're going to be hit with that combo of economic data. So be looking out for this stuff. You yourself need to be looking at this stuff. If you want to become a good investor, you can't see this shit on a chart. All right? You cannot see this data on a chart. Let me say that one more fucking time. You cannot see economic data on a chart. This will wreck your TA. If these numbers come in, you know, this is what determines the pump or the dump. It's not looking at a chart, all right? Now you can look at a chart. I mean, I'm not a TA guy really, but I understand and it's helpful, but you have to think about the fundamentals and the macroeconomic situation that's going on, the underlying issues, and, you know, what the Fed is, you know, how the Fed behaves, and what data that they're looking at, you yourself can look at. If you know how the Fed behaves, you can act accordingly, you know? But guys, that's all I really had for you right now. If you get any value from me, please like and subscribe to the channel. And it looks like Bitcoin's starting to kind of, you know, it's just ranging right now, like I said, between 93 and 95, just kind of bouncing back and forth. Range getting tighter and tighter. It's coiling up for a move. Let's go back to the daily. We did get a nice little dump back down to 93.8. So yeah, let's go back to the months. Let's see. What's the last low? 93.4. 93.869. So this is, the range is getting tighter and tighter. All right, I'm telling you. I mean, you can just see it when it does this. It's consolidating. It is right now. This is consolidation. This is bullish. All right, bullish. Now let me just go back here. Let's look at the Bitcoin dominance real quick. Okay, if it's gonna load. Fear and greed is at 52. Let me click this thing here. Might be able to see Bitcoin BTC dominance on here. If this thing will fucking load, man. Oh my god. I don't care about altcoin index. I want to see BTC dominance. Well, basically, it's saying it's Bitcoin season right now, but where's the Bitcoin dominance chart? Did I fucking forget how to do it? I know how to do it on my phone, but on this thing, I don't know. I don't care about none of that shit right now. Don't know. Well, I feel stupid because I can't find it. I don't know where the fuck it is. But anyways, this is a good indicator right here. It is Bitcoin season right now. You know, when Bitcoin dominance gets around like 55% ish, that's when we're going to really start seeing these altcoins take off. Also, Ethereum needs to break above at least 2,000, I feel like, before these altcoins really start going crazy. When ETH starts breaking new all-time highs, these altcoins are going to fucking melt. It's going to melt faces off. So, you guys need to prepare yourself. If we are getting rate cuts next week, you know, maybe you should think about buying this dip. Maybe not deploy everything, but, you know, invest accordingly. Not financial advice, but look at this. Bitcoin's bouncing back up again. 60 now, yeah. Like I said, the range is getting tighter and tighter. Eventually, it's going to break through that resistance and it's going to go up. I think the next resistance would probably be like around 97-ish. Then we're gone. Then we're off to 100K. And I think once we get to 100,000, that's a psychological level for investors. I feel like people will start FOMOing. All right? Just what I think. Either that or we could face some more resistance around 100K. I'm pretty sure it probably is some resistance around that area. Might be some sellers around 100K. But there's probably going to be buyers. So, with that being said, guys, I am signing off here. Everyone stay bullish. Hold down the fort.